My name is Connie Christian. I am the development director of Jesus House, and I'm here today to talk to you about al-anon and how it can really help the relatives and friends of alcoholics. I know a lot of times we hear a lot about AA and 12 steps, but al-anon is a support group that is completely free and has meetings in every single part of the world and in Oklahoma all over the place, like from 6 a.m. until 10 o'clock at night. So I want to start off with that. If you guys do not know where the main hub of al-anon is, it is actually at 3801 Northwest 63rd Street. And they have a ton of resources there. They also have a phone. Their phone number is 405-767-9071. And that phone is answered 24/7. Their hours inside of that building are from 10 a.m. to 2. But you can walk in there during those hours, and Dee is the girl there. She will answer any question for you. You can eat books, point you in the right direction for a meeting, and all that good stuff. And so I'm just going to hold this up. I don't think you guys can see it, but so if any of you are familiar with AA, there's open and closed meetings, and it's the same thing in al-anon. So they refer it to in this pamphlet with 1 star means that it's open, anybody can go. If it's 2 stars, family and friends only. And then online, their website is www.okcallanon.org. And on there, it says open and closed. So the difference with that is like open, again, anybody can go, and closed is you have to have a relative or friend that you're trying to help that is an alcoholic. So that is the only requirement. Also, they have meetings, like I pointed out. I mean, it's just all over here. We have Edmond, Oklahoma City. We have Northwest Oklahoma City. We have Northeast. They have Spanish al-anon, Southwest, Midwest City, Yukon, Tuttle, Norman, Moore, Ardmore, Chandler, Broken Bow, Duncan. So the thing I love about al-anon and AA is that it's free and it's all different times of the day. So it's like basically no excuse to not go. You know, a lot of times we get like, we can't afford it, we don't have the time, but they're before work, after work, during work, all that good stuff. So please use them as a resource. Also, they have a ton of books there. This is what you would get if you go to an al-anon meeting, a beginner's al-anon meeting, when you walk in the door. And it's how al-anon works for families and friends of alcoholics. It is a wonderful reference guide. I mean, I cannot tell you, I have read this book inside and out. This is like my second copy that I've owned, and you can see like all the note tabs that I have. It's just really, really great. So I want to touch on a little bit about how al-anon works. And that is, so the description of it is al-anon defines itself as an independent fellowship with the stated purpose of helping relatives and friends of alcoholics. According to the organization, alcoholism is a family disease. Its preamble to the 12 steps provide a general description. So they work the 12 steps just like AA. And just to give you guys a little bit of background about myself, I am a recovering alcoholic and addict for 6 years. And my husband just got into recovery. He's almost 2 years sober, but I did start al-anon about close to 3 years ago. And it really changed my perspective on basically nursing him back to, like, shifting my focus onto myself instead of him. Because when I got sober, I all of a sudden wanted him to be sober, and I couldn't understand why he would not change. And so through AA and my sponsor and lots of other people surrounding me, they convinced me to go to al-anon, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And it's just wonderful. So I really want to share some things with you here. So about the 12 step, if any of you are familiar with it, I was just going to kind of read not all of them, but the first 3, because I think those are the most important steps. So the first step is, we've admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives have become unmanageable. Total disclaimer here. First time I read this, I was like, what are they talking about? Like, the people in this group are not alcoholics. They're helping alcoholics. And so, because this is the same 12 step as AA, as any of your recovering friends and relatives are going to go through. And basically what it is like you're powerless over them because they're using alcohol. So you have to admit that you have to stop helping them, being their crutch, and that you need help from a group of people. And that's what that basically is. And then number 2 is came to believe that the power greater than ourselves could help restore us to sanity. And that is a very, I like to say like people should just like 1, 2, 3 it, because we look way deeper into these steps, I think, than we're supposed to. That's just personal preference. So number 3 is made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. So again, 1, 2, 3 it. Try to just not look into these so deep and make it where you just cannot commit to something. So there's that. And I want to let you know like what you guys are going to expect when you walk into the rooms of Al-Anon. So I know a lot of us hide our shame. We put on appearances that everything is okay. We think that nobody else drinks like our husband, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, our son, or uses or anything. And it's just not true. It touches every single religion, race, social status. And coming into the rooms are very, very hard, but anonymity is very important. People really hold that to a higher standard. So you can trust that your identity will be held, in anonymity, and no one's going to like see you out at the grocery store and say, "Hey girl, how are you doing?" And if they do, they should come up to you at the next meeting, let you know, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I did this and I may be compromised," because it can really put people's jobs at jeopardy, their friends. And so we are very aware of that. So please don't let that like prevent you from coming into the rooms. So you come into the rooms, I'm going to tell you, you're going to sit down, you're going to be quiet. You probably are just going to listen. And I feel like be in just awe of what's going on. And that's what happened to me. I just remember sitting there and thinking like, my life is so great. Why will my husband not look at me and think like, this woman has turned her life around from a hot mess to somebody who has a job now, has her child back. And when I mean back, like I just was an absent mother. My son wasn't like taken away from me by DHS. I just wasn't present because I was very like all addicts, very selfish in my addiction. And that's what, why you are in Al-Anon. They have swept you to the side, and all they think about constantly is using every single day and how they're going to manipulate you and everyone around them to get to that next point. So I really want to stress to you, like the rooms of Al-Anon are amazing. And when you walk in and sit down and just give it a chance, listen to people. If you don't find a meeting that you like, go to another meeting. It takes a while. It's like going to a hairdresser sometimes or a therapist. You just have to find the right one. So, and the right group of people. So please, if you go to one, try to go to a different one, give it at least 3 times before you just say, this is not for me. That's kind of like my general rule. Okay. So I've kind of touched on what you guys, when you walk in, a big thing that, as I read before, is that alcoholism is a family disease. And this is huge in Al-Anon. Compulsive drinking affects the drinker, and it affects the drinker's relationships, friendships, employment, childhood, parenthood, love affairs, and marriages all suffer from the effects of alcoholism. Okay, like so true. I can attest for this. I was ruined so many holidays, Father's Day, Mother's Day, baby showers. I mean, you name it, I did it. And my mother and father-in-law were so wonderful. And my family, they never said anything to my husband until it got really bad towards the end. And man, I'm just telling you, it does affect. I lost my job. I lost a lot of friends over my alcoholism and my using, because, eventually we just get so isolated and alone. And that's exactly what we want. We want to push you all away. And so I want you guys to know that it is a family disease and it does affect everybody. And when you come into the rooms of Al-Anon, like it becomes like your new family, where it's a safe place to share. It's, you feel like you're not alone anymore. And so I think that's just really important there. Also, so I want to go over, so there's also, hold on, there's also some slogans that you will hear. And I love a lot of these are just awesome just to live by. So like, keep it simple. When coping with the baffling and often overwhelming effects of alcoholism, the simpler and more straightforward the approach, the better. The slogan, keep it simple, just makes that point. When life seems unmanageable or confusing, many of us unknowingly complicate matters even further by trying to anticipate everything that could go wrong so that we will be prepared to respond. So I'm sure a lot of people watching can attest to this, right? You try to predict exactly what somebody was going to do. You know, when they pulled out of the driveway, you're like, man, are they going to come home drunk tonight? Are they going to come home at all? What are they going to do? And that drives us into insanity because we're repeating the same pattern, and we're becoming codependent on everything they are doing. And codependency is a huge part of Al-Anon, becoming non-codependent. There is a book that I read that I absolutely love, and I passed it on to somebody else, so I did not bring it with me, but it's called Codependent No More by Melody Beadle. It changed my life. I did not know what codependency was until I read this. I actually thought, like, I am so independent. You know, I've been on my own since I was 16. I did this, I did that. And that's not what codependency is. What codependency is that you are basically, every move this person makes, you are like watching them and trying to decide what they're going to do next. And it is maddening. So keep it simple. Try to take it one day at a time. That's another slogan. That's one I live by every single day, especially with AA. You know, one foot in front of the other. That's all that we're really in control of, and can just one foot in front of the other. So I want to say that there's another one that I really love, and it's called Keep an Open Mind. Guidance can take many forms and often comes when least expected. Words of wisdom may fall from the mouth of a small child or from the ramblings of someone we dislike. We never know where we find inspiration or help. If we keep an open mind, we make ourselves available to receive the help no matter where it comes from. You guys, that's just like says it right there. So the rooms of Al-Anon, you're going to hear so many stories. You're going to be able to relate. You're going to be able to cry. You're going to be able to hug. You're going to be able to go out to coffee, have some healthy relationships that you can really bond with people. And even if it's just one person, like, think about that, because not only is the alcoholic an addict alone, but we become isolated because we are protecting our life. You know, we don't want anybody to know like how bad things are getting with us, with our alcoholic that we're living with, you know, and so we really want to just protect them and keep it sacred. So just letting that out and sharing is so powerful. And trust me, like, try it and you will not knock it. That's for sure. Also, in Al-Anon, we have what are called traditions. So those are actually the exact same thing that are in AA. And I'm going to read you guys a couple. Let me get to these. Hold momentarily here. Okay, so these are basically just like guidelines of how the group is going to function. So like, number one, our common welfare should come first. Personal progress for the greatest number depends upon unity. Number two, for our group's purpose, there is but one authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscientious. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. And if I'm sure most of you guys know this, that each group should be autonomous, except in matters affecting another group of Al-Anon or AA as a whole. And so they also don't, what am I trying to say? What is it with the sect? They won't push any type of religion. You won't hear like an advertisement on the radio for Al-Anon or AA. And that's just not how they function. They're self-supporting through donations that come through those doors. So, you know, they may make $5 one night, and that's why they're usually in like churches, inconspicuous buildings that are low rent, because they really don't have a ton of donations, at least to my knowledge. So they're self-supporting. So you have the 12 steps, the 12 traditions, and then the 12 concepts of service. And the 12 concepts of service are, there's a World Service Office that basically approves like all the literature and everything of Al-Anon, and they function by the World Service Order, basically. Like in our Al-Anon office here, they have all of their reading materials are World Service approved. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about Al-Anon so far, or if I've kind of skipped around at all. No? Okay. So I want to at the same time talk about AA, because I feel like Al-Anon and AA go hand in hand together. So in Oklahoma City, the Al-Anon, it's called Intergroup. That is the main hub for AA. And that is at 26th in Portland. And you can walk in there, I mean, any time of the day. They have so many. That's how I actually found AA. I went to Valley Hope, and they did not have a spot for me. And the lady there suggested that I go to AA. And I walked in there, like, because nobody comes skipping into the rooms of AA or Al-Anon. Trust me, that never ever happens. But I went in there crying. I couldn't even see. And, you know, there was a lady in there that's still there and picked me up and was like, man, there's a women's meeting going right now. You need to go, yada, yada, yada. So I went, and I've still gone back there to buy chips all the time. They have wonderful reading materials. They do not operate by the World Service Order. So they're going to have non-approved AA materials. So they're going to have spirituality books and all different kinds of materials in there. So I definitely think that's a great resource here in Oklahoma City we have, along with AA. So Al-Anon is not as up to date as AA. AA has a meeting guide, and what that looks like is blue in the background with a white chair. And that has all the meetings listed that you can look on your phone. And they literally start at 6 a.m. early bird and go all the way to like 10 o'clock at night. So there's a meeting for every single person. So that I feel like is AA in a nutshell, and kind of covers like where you can go and what you can do. Oh, you know what? Something I missed here. So in that same hub at Al-Anon, you walk in there and you can get all these wonderful, just booklets. So they're like 40 cents a piece, and sometimes they'll charge you and sometimes they won't. But like Alcoholism, the Family Disease right here, it's just a really quick reference guide. So it began with our marriage, a lifeline of despair, and a mother's story. And which I love these, because stories we can all relate to, right? Like we may not want to look through the 12 steps and read, 90 pages of stuff we don't really fully understand yet. But man, you read these stories, and who can't relate, with a mother or an employer or somebody that's had an alcoholic in their life. So I think these are wonderful. Hope and understanding for parents and grandparents. We have Alcoholism, a merry-go-round named Denial. Shocker. How can I help my children? And I'm not kidding. They have a wall just full of them. So please use them as a resource. I know that they would absolutely love that. How are we on time right now, Derek?
Yeah, we're good. You've got another 5 minutes or so.
Another 5. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I will. I want to touch on a little bit on Jesus House for you too. I know a lot of people in Oklahoma City know about Jesus House. We've been a homeless shelter for about 38 years, and we've been around for about 46. So really, like the last 7 years, we've been focusing on our life transformation program, which is our no-cost drug and alcohol recovery program. And it is a wonderful program. We are not government funded, and we're not supported by United Way. So we basically run the program the way that we want to run it, without any government entity, interfering. And I'm not saying that that's not good. I'm just saying it takes a village, and this is our spot where we want to be. We still serve the homeless 3 times a day and clothe the homeless and low income families. We do food baskets on Wednesdays. And so we still have that niche there, but we wanted to become a spot where people homeless or not homeless could come and get help. So those are the only qualifications. You don't have to be homeless. Oh, that's a common misconception. And the only thing you need is basically be addicted to drugs or alcohol and admit it. And that's it. We need to see a state ID as well. You can't like go to like the Homeless Alliance and take a picture there and walk in our doors. We need to make sure like through Catholic Charities, Upward Transitions, somewhere that's like reliable, that they actually have some birth certificate, things like that, that they're getting a valid ID for you. And also no violent offenses. So there are a few catches. The violent offenses are case by case. So it really depends how long it's been, really what was the activity, and the case managers decide those case by case. It's a 12 to 24 month program. We've also had people that have lived there for up to like 36 months. It just really depends how you're working your program and what you're doing. And I will invite any of you guys out there for a tour. You definitely, Derek will have my contact information, I'm sure, up, or find a way to contact me on Facebook, maybe Jesus House, Oklahoma City. You can contact me on there. If you guys want to come do a tour, it's definitely not glamorous. It's like camp meets rehab, or military meets rehab. So it's not glamorous, right? We function out of a 1938 schoolhouse, but I will tell you that I wish that I would have known about that years and years ago. It would have probably saved me a whole lot of grief that there's somewhere that I could go that was no cost, because, a lot of times we know that people do not have $30,000, $60,000, or even $1,000 sometimes. And you guys may just need that bridge in between. We want people to commit to 12 months, but we understand things happen. And there's so many wonderful programs and community partners out there. It's also faith-based. And so that's really a wrap on that. But if you guys have any further questions about Jesus House or Al-Anon, like, I'd be happy to answer anything that goes in depth even more.
Yeah. Connie, is Al-Anon for family and friends of drug addicts as well, or just alcoholics?
So, great question. Okay. It is for addicts as well. Now, you will get snubbed at some meetings, just like in AA. Sometimes certain groups will have old timers or people in there that think maybe you need to go to like CA, like Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, but really drug use and alcohol use go hand in hand. So it's really, I would still go. You may get some pushback from people. And my response to that is like, you're there for help and they need to have open arms no matter what. So you may need to like maybe go to a Cocaine Anonymous meeting. The problem with Cocaine Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous is there are not that many meetings. They may have like 3 a week, 5 a week. So it's in really weird times. So,
but I think the question was for if somebody wanted to go to Al-Anon for codependency. It doesn't matter if they're a codependent of an alcoholic or an addict. Right. Yes. Eating disorder. Al-Anon's fairly welcoming, no matter what their family member might struggle with.
So it's supposed to be. Yes, it is. Yeah. I mean, but I will tell you honestly, like sometimes you get snubbed. Like they want certain people say like, it's just alcohol. Like you can't be in here. Like I've had people like get up and share and it's like really uncomfortable, but you're just always going to have those people sometimes. So overall, over blanketing, yes, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Cool. So I hope that helps some of you kind of break the wall down of Al-Anon, and it's not so intimidating, and know that you can have some resources of where to go and just where to start.
So this is a great time if you've got questions about anything that Connie's talked about, questions about Al-Anon or 12-step support and how that can help create change, or questions about the services that Jesus House might offer. Now is a great time to chime in for those.
Chime.
Awkward pause.
do.
I know, I need to try to cue up some music.
Yeah. Well, I guess at this time I can just like thank, parents helping parents. You guys are awesome. This is a definite resource that's needed, as we all know. And thank you for Derek for hosting this. It's wonderful, and intimidating all at the same time. I don't know, but I really appreciate you guys considering having us on, or myself on here. And so thank you. Now more awkward pausing.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the time, if you've got questions, we are answering those live right now. How many people, extraneous question, how many people live at Jesus House and what's the wait list like?
Yeah, so there are 88 beds. There are 18 for women and 70 for men. Currently, so I am not in case management, but to my knowledge, as of like today, I know there's definitely a men's bed open, and I believe there's 2 women's bed opens, but that could have changed because, you know, sometimes I leave. I left at 3 today, and so they do intakes. That's another thing. We do intakes from 8 a.m. until 3 o'clock. So if there is if you have like a parents helping parents group, please like contact me directly. If I can't promise anything, but I can definitely try to push you through to a case manager. You know, just because we want to support you guys and be more of a resource. So you can definitely reach out and we'll try to expedite it. And if we need to, you know, stay a little bit later for you guys, we definitely will do that.
Is there a wait list, or is it kind of first come, first served? When you guys
So we've gone in and out of a wait list. If for the most part, we have been on one, which is really strange apparently for this time of year. So I will be there for a year in March, excuse me. For a year in March. So I've never actually been through a full season, but from what I'm told, all the shelters are full right now, like City Rescue Mission, Homeless Alliance. And apparently it's like an influx from people from out of state, like Seattle, Oregon, California, New York. Apparently it's like word out on the street that we actually treat our homeless really well here. So
yeah. That's good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love it. You know, like I always say, it definitely does take a village.
All right. Any other final questions for Connie or about anything we've talked about today? I guess not.
No, okay, cool, man. I'm off the hook. You guys are making me. That's awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Be sure you tune back in 2 weeks from tonight. That was December 2nd for our next meeting. These videos are up on Facebook permanently. If you go back and you're watching one of our videos and that video is good, you seem to get a lot out of that, go ahead and share it. Share it to your wall. These videos are up on Facebook permanently. So we get asked all the time, hey, what can I do to help your organization? I don't have a lot of volunteer time. I'm on a tight budget just like everybody else. I can't always donate. The one thing that you can do for any of these organizations, share our content. That is a really easy way to help us out. So share our posts, click, like, do all that kind of stuff. And thanks for joining us. We hope that you all have a really great week.
Thanks, Derek. That's a little bit.